just gonna wait for y'all to get up in here before I do this channel message because, wow. This is gonna be a good message. Just let y'all come up in here. Yeah, I ain't gonna win y'all. Y'all getting the message as I'm talking because I already know. Mm, y'all gonna get in here. Y'all gonna be in the comment section. You're gonna watch it after the fact. You're gonna have to rewind to even understand the correlation. Like it's all right. So channel message. This is kind of like a SNR message. You know, the singers, the rappers, the celebrities, things of that. Two songs in particular, two artists in particular. You know, if you've been on the Patreon, you've been listening in on the SNR messages, or if you've been seeing it on the platform, you know, when we go on live. But there's two artists in particular that I've been mentioning, right? Drake and also Beyonce. If you know me, you know, like these are one of my favorite artists. Like, and as far as, ooh, something about Ice Spice. Now, listen. We gonna get to it because there's a lot going on. Like, all right, I guess God want me to talk about what Ice Spice would even have to do in regard to these two artists, right? And it kind of goes into the overall theme of what I'm about to be talking about in regards to this channel message. All right, so as you know, Drake kind of is like an industry father to a lot of people. You know, he's been in the industry for more than 10 years. And although, all right, you gotta, all right, this is why I'm like, this is not SNR message, but you gotta know the backstory to get into what we about to talk about. If you don't know now, you know. So Drake, you know, before getting into the music industry, he had I don't know if he did networking, whatever, you know, happened. If like only he would know if he wanted to go from whatever career he was in and then branch out into something different, you know. But meeting that person, when he met that person, you know, luck came into his life in regards to the planet of Jupiter, and you know, and that person was in the industry I guess he wanted to go into. Let's start there. So Drake was founded by somebody else, and then came into another situation, the second situation, where he was found of value. You know, number two, very significant. So he was founded by Lil Wayne, Libra, Justice. So what two zodiac signs have we mentioned? Libra and Sagittarius. Travel, luck, expansion, and also value, seeing value in somebody in their worth, right? You don't know what that man went through before he got to where he was at for even, I would say, spiritually manifested to the physical for something like that to happen to him, you know? And you know, with that dynamic he was in within that music group, a lot of those people were hand chosen, selected for that kind of even experience. So now you fast forward. The reason why I'm saying that, you fast forward to now in regards to the industry of music. You see now Drake is playing that father figure role in the embodiment of a Capricorn, the industry. And I think that we've seen who he present, I'm hearing present, prevent. Like somebody want to prevent something for something happening to a particular artist, but we're not gonna get into that. That's not what the message is about. If you know, you know. So I'm trying to say, we've previously seen the artist that he's just debuted, and what he'll usually do, not with every artist, but for the most part, as a father figure in the industry, what he does is incorporate network with other artists. They might not be as developed as he is and seasoned in the industry, but when he sees like it's like a talent style A&R, when he sees like value in a person, it's kind of like a giving back charity type of situation. But I don't want to say like that, like spiritual charity. Listen, those same embodiments of destiny helpers, acts of kindness, whether intentional or not, like spiritually, is what happened to him and how he was guided into the music industry, branching from a different career path. Are you understanding? So now, as a father figure in the industry, he kind of does somewhat of that. Now we're talking about this name. I guess that was just wanting to be mentioned so bad is Ice Spice. Now, why am I speaking about Ice Spice and why is that name relevant? Right? She's not as mainstream. She's notable because she's been notarized by certain, people such as Drake. But why she's significant to this message is because if you follow along with that woman in particular, what she has going on, just to see what she got going on. You see that uh, you see that Ice Spice basically was you gotta peep the difference, but this is not what this message is for. That's for like an American Heritage Society message, in regards to when they pick artists too soon before they're actually supposed to be debuted. It's a process. So now you see how quick they picked up on Ice Spice. I think she only had like one viral song. You gotta history is history. If you know, you know. And you see all the things she had to go through, and she even expressed online, and she's not as relevant anymore. But if you remember early on when she first was picked up and this song was going viral, they was speaking about what her ethnicity. In regards to the music industry, persona, looks, yeah, very sexualized. But at the same time, there's neither here or there. You just you know, and a part of that is right now ethnically where are you from? You're seeing a lot of artists emerging from the Caribbeans and things of that sort, like from more tropical areas in this moment. But this is like now. I don't want to like butcher any words in regards to like saying the wrong misinformation. Like I'm saying like, let's say within the last 5 to 10 years, usually a career in the music industry, a prominent one goes towards 10-year lifespan at minimum. A few years ago, the artists weren't emerging from just the tropical light area. We had some artists here and there, but if I'm not mistaken, they was even going the UK route for a little while. Mm. Anywho's, when Ice Spice came out, they predominantly said that she was from Nigeria. That was ethnically where she was from, but she lived in New York. So she had, see, this is the thing about demographics in regards to streaming. Getting that urban demographic and then still getting tropical, I would say, demographic. It's intriguing, especially to labels at this time, with if you know what is going on with labels, music labels, record labels at this time. And then you had, in this oversaturated field, you have another emerging artist who's actually of the ethnicity who was put to, befriend, or this person befriend them, and having then whatever after whatever happened, whatever glamour was put. Now we're finding out like she's actually not, the ethnicity that she was claiming to be. And then time and time on, and now it's become a ritual, like some sort of humiliation ritual, because they even put her on, if I'm not mistaken, an award show for like teenagers or whatever. And they paired her with, ironically, a tropical artist, right? Like Tyler. And even people was talking about that awkward scene with them at that said award show, and it's just kind of ironic. That's why I was saying humiliation ritual for her. I don't know why that's significant, because about to talk about something really different, but there's a moral to it. Because, all right, hmm. All right. So back to what I was saying. So the two artists, right, that I mentioned previously before, 2 Channel songs. This is not an SNR, but we got to get into it so you can understand the viewpoint. Now, 2 songs. The first song is Summer 16 by Drake. I remember when that song came out, and I listened to it for the first time. It was one of the songs that used to be on my playlist. And let's talk about, the number 16, 1-6. Trust your intuition. Miracles. And I've talked about Drake, whether he knows it or not. Like him, whenever he does music, is very, very, very spiritual. Especially if like, not gonna get into it right now, but hmm, just know we've talked about it on previous SNR messages. I'm not trying to do an American Heritage Society message right now, but when we get to it, we'll get to it. Just remind me. So basically, in that song, basically what I got from the gist of it, like from my own narration, take your own narrative on the song itself. But to me, when I heard that song, it was like uh, almost like a prayer, a chant in regards to, he was tired of a particular person, doing him wrong in some type of way. We get that type of vibe from his music, anyways. Like, I'm not necessarily saying get back, but it's more like undoing wrongdoings that your enemies want to place upon you. Some people might see him as very arrogant, but this is where I'll be like, you never know what people are going through. So to each his own. We hear a lot of things in media and blogs and stuff like that. It's in regards to hearing something from someone else, from someone themselves, their mouth, and then using discernment on that. Because anybody can say anything. Like you got, and we ain't gonna get into it. Not today. So, and I'm like, those affirmations were very powerful. And I didn't think of that song in such a long time, because that song is so like, it's so low key and chill, but it's so amped up, because if you really hear what he's saying. So fast forward to today. I literally, well, yesterday, I literally was just online and I heard the song. I guess somebody on social media, like I was just on the explore page, whatever, and this song came up in one of the videos, and it was by Beyonce, 16 Carriages. I've heard this song before, but I never took the time to like really listen to the word that she was saying. Now, this is the thing. We just spoke about Drake. We just spoke about Drake in regards to luck and expansion, luck and expansion in regards to his career endeavors, and it's completely different from Beyonce, obviously. And it's not even about gender. I'm talking just how people go into the industry, it's the music industry at that. You would say she had a team, and to an extent, right now, like still does. I spoke about previously about the possible reasons as to why Drake is not yet married, and you know, not to compare and contrast, but how this woman had a whole team and was presented in a certain type of way where she is now actually married and still doing the same thing she was doing. Mm. I had these previous dreams. I was talking about the elevators. And it's a lot going on with them, obviously. But this message is not in regards to that in specific. It's just like it's kind of ironic. Now we know Drake to be able to write his own music, and we know that Beyonce can write her own music too. This is known. But what we also know is they have also been able to have ghostwriters, songwriters, I would say at that. Because they have the means to, if they don't want to write a song, but they know they can hire somebody that can actually give them that award-winning song, they'll do it. Everybody doesn't have that luxury. Hmm. So why I'm mentioning that is because in regards to this woman, hmm, I don't know how to say this. Give me one moment. If you know the birth chart, you know. So I listened to the song 60 characters, right? And I got so overwhelmed because I was listening to the words that she was saying. The reason why the song is significant is because it made me think back to when I was hearing, especially when she first started doing her tours, that she would have people on her team go to, like I don't know, like it isn't not even like major, right? Like, but like go to different people performances, like not mainstream artists I'm talking about, and go see what they're doing creatively in regards to their performances, and they will record and take notes and then go back to her and they will incorporate that some type of way. Now take that to your own interpretation in regards to imitation is flattery, because it's all right to learn from people, and then out of admiration, I would say not imitate, but resonate with what somebody got going on and incorporate it into your own thing. That's fine. But it's always about the intent of a person. So I'm listening to the 16 carriages. What happened is it turned into a quick 2D catcher, dream catcher message. Like, I remember a dream I had at the age of 6, one of the first dreams I've ever had. And literally, the song was narrating the dream. And that's why I was so overwhelmed, because it wasn't like a sad feeling. It was like, all right, and this is what I'm talking about. You never really know what people got going on unless you speak with them and you gain your own perspective. So I'm hearing what she's saying. First and foremost, in the song, there are 3 numbers mentioned. Let's talk about it real quick. This is why I brought up the song with Drake. 16, 15, and 38 was mentioned in the songs 16 Carriages with, Beyonce. 16, Trust Your Intuition, Miracles. 3, Communication, Embodiment of Gemini. Um, 8, Abundance Reincarnation, taking something and making a surplus of it. What did I forgot to mention? So this is a significant. The 15, Trust Your Intuition. Significant changes manifesting from the spiritual unto the physical, saying your dreams, your prayers, your hopes, your aspirations, your goals coming into fruition, and I receive in the mighty name of God. When she was saying 16, she was talking about the journey. The journey brought her miracles. Everything she had to go through. I can resonate with that. Everything you gotta go through. And I know y'all can resonate with that. Everything you go through has a bigger meaning. There's always a bigger picture. Sagittarius, like I was talking about, the embodiment of who Trey Songz was to Drake. Not a gatekeeper, almost like a guy, an open door to miracles. How ironic that this might not have anything to do with anything, but I'm just thinking out loud. How ironic that Drake wanted to come into the industry rapping. And this is the same thing with a lot of artists sometimes. They'll come into an industry and they want to do something specific, but they can, people notice, so they can elevate with a different brand. It doesn't necessarily have to be different. They don't have to stop what they're doing necessarily, but a particular brand in regards to their artistry, they know they can procreate. Mm. Luck and expansion. Who would have known that this man would be in one career field, meet an actual artist who was a singer? Then this man wanted to do rap music. They was like, no, I don't like. I'm not saying they said it like that, but I'm saying how ironic. He came and wanted to be a rapper, started singing, and this is what he is very notable for today. No intention of coming into the industry singing, and this is what makes him so predominant today.
Ile fetala, just say na gịnị onye ka ibi isu onye ka ị na-esu onye ka ị na-esu. I'm telling you. How are you? You alright?
Yeah. Yeah. That was a confirmation. A good one at that. Now, for that interruption. Not really an interruption, but so I'm listening to the song 16 Carry You, right? And I'm thinking about this dream. I've talked about this dream before on the channel, right? Because this is one of the most prominent dreams I ever had in my life, especially at the age that I had it at. I saw hmm, basically it was a vehicle traveling at night on the road. Um, Gemini, Aries, very significant in regards to the driver and the passenger seat, giving mother and father figure energy. I'll say that. Now we know because of this message, Gemini in regards to communication, Aries in regards to business, so what we're doing right now in regards to implementing a little bit of everything in this channel message. It's very interesting. Wow. Wow. And in the dream, either driving on the road, it's like a family dynamic, obviously. And this woman is having a backseat of basically her own point of view in regards of, and we spoke about in the dreams, when somebody is driving a vehicle and you are inside the vehicle, not driving yourself, that's in regards to spiritually somebody, or even in the physical, but like spiritually, like somebody wanting to like control you, like put some sort of controlling factor on you. So I'm looking at the dream. I'm thinking about it. I'm just like, wow. As I'm listening to the song, I'm just like, ain't no way. But it's always a way with God. When I tell you, like, so in the dream, right? And then like it was this I'm not remembering that. So like basically in the dream, the lights on the road, mind you, they were traveling at night 6. Are we gonna say miracles right now? Cause I just learned something. Thank you. Anyways. Hmm. anyways. So the dream was so ironic that the street lights all turned off. And when they turned off, like the person who was in the driving the vehicle and then the passenger who was sitting beside them, they all, every single one of them were like, I don't want to like say kidnapped, but they all was taken out the vehicle. And so when you understand spiritually what the vehicle represents, mind you, in order to be taken out of the vehicle had to stop. So this person that wanted so much control over your life, over what you were doing in regards to your career, over what you was like in general, they were trying to do something new. And now this is what I'm saying. It's all about intent. Because if they had the right intent for you, they could have actually been the passenger themselves. The driver was a male. Gemini, at least significant. Um, Lover, loved one, relative, romantic, platonic, business relationship, whoever that means to you, somebody you speak with, father figure, very significant. hmm They were trying to do whatever manipulative control tactic on you, and what happened was, then they got taken out. And it's funny because like not it could be a metaphorical sense or actual like in physicality, but like that's where that summer 16 come from. It's like you ain't have to get your get back. God gonna do it for you. All right. This is why sometimes people see people get things effortlessly or do things and it seems effortlessly. Like you don't know what people go through. So like when you see people receiving their blessings and you don't speak to them, you don't ask them what's going on, you don't hear it from their mouth. How dare you like pass judgment on somebody like that? But if you got the embodiment in place, that's a different story. That's something else we can talk about on a different day. Anyways, so I'm hearing 16 carriages, and she's talking about the journey what she had to go through and what 16 meant to her at the time and what it means to her now. It's like that. I'm hearing revise and revision, like not necessarily looking back at the past, but seeing what you had to go through to be who you are today. It's a blessing. But then she changed the number to 15. I hold you right now because I didn't even get to listen to the like song in depth the way I wanted to even remember what the 15 she was talking about. I probably could have earlier, but we've been just talking about a whole bunch of different stuff. Oh, you guys are talking in the comment section. What you talking about? What you talking about? Let me see. That goes into another dream. It helps me, so I ain't with you. And then she goes to 38. Like, but what I got from the song, honestly, after that journey, now we go if we're going back into the dream catcher message, the 2D catcher. Remember what I was saying, like you got it's a parallel to it. It's like not everyone, but that demographic of people who, see you obtaining things, gaining miracles and blessings, and they want to pass this that message I was talking about, that false judgment. So this is why in certain situations, not all, like people see you going through stuff and that false humiliation ritual or whatever. Some people actually go through a real one, but like that false humiliation ritual, that get back in regards to like how God brings in miracles. That's why people think, oh, it's just you get things so effortlessly, you do things so effortlessly, and it could be to that extent today. But like I said, people don't know what you go through or went through. So when God doubles back, triples back, quadruples back for you in regards to your blessings, your manifestations, your dreams, your prayers, all they can do is watch. Because in the dream, what I saw was in the next scenario, all these people were taken out of the vehicle, and just that one woman was left with not only the vehicle, because ironically, when these people were apprehended for their wrongdoings against you, and when I was sleeping, the vehicle had to stop, right? So in the dream, as the vehicle is transporting anywhere it's going, traveling, it's Sagittarius, luck and expansion. But you weren't driving the vehicle. This person wanted to drive the vehicle, take you with them, um, in regards to manipulation and control. And then they was apprehended along with everybody else that was following along with the false judgment, following along with trying to do wrongdoings onto you. So the car came to a stop. So then the opposite of Sagittarius is Gemini, environment, communication. So maybe somebody didn't even want you to say something. This is why people always talk. I've had so many conversations within the previous month with people in regards to music a few years ago, and that I hear the same thing. I've been hearing the same thing for years. They're like, "Oh, this music nowadays it's mumble rap. We can't understand it, this and third." And, to the to the younger generation now, or the generation now at that, when they hear stuff like that, they want to snare their nose up, and this is what a lot of the elders in the industry be talking about too. They want to snare their nose up. They be like, "You just, you're not appreciating and welcoming in the new demographic." Honest to God, I don't know where that entitlement even comes from to a certain extent. Because it's like, who said they got to respect, follow, do anything of the younger generation when they're in their own demographic, and y'all in two different demographics in regards of genre and music artistry. Hmm. When they say they mumble rap, they're not talking about because even with lyrics, you can look up lyrics, you can figure out what somebody's saying. It's not hard. They say they can't understand the new generation because they're not talking about it. But then there's a parallel to that because it's like if they're not talking about that because I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This new generation, in regards to music, mumble rap, or whatever you want to call it, is more enticing because of the frequency. I was talking to somebody the other day about frequency, and I was like, I'm not even gonna get into it right now, but the frequency is giving party, have fun, feel good. And music back in the day had more meaning because of the lyricism. That's what a lot of people make fun of today. But even it's so ironic. All right, so everything makes sense because the other day I seen this video of it probably even was yesterday. I seen this video of Fantasia interview. I've seen an interview before where she was talking about this woman was asking her to make more music like the song "Free Yourself," and she was saying like the mindset she was in when she made that song basically would have been the reason why she wouldn't have found love if she kept going that direction. And she was telling her if she wanted to better herself in her life, mentally, physically, spiritually, stop listening to that song, even though she created the song. How ironic. Because those people who were making those songs that, touched the hearts of many people is because they were going through some deep. They was in a place, I wouldn't say necessarily of negativity, but they was in, I don't want to say necessarily a dark place, but they was going through some shit. You know what I'm saying? For you to even think about it. As oversaturated as the industry is in regards to music, and everybody can't be a musician or even an entrepreneur in that sense. But these people who was made to sing, now this is where don't get me wrong, these people not to be idolized. But I'm saying like for them to be hand chosen, selected, for their voice to have a matter. I mean, their voice to matter. We're not gonna get into that next. But like for their voice to matter to many people and what they're saying, and they're going through things, and the general public, which is mainstream media, can resonate, can connect, can understand, can feel empathy for not only themselves but the artists. That's powerful. And it's a gift. And it's a blessing. Hmm. So in the second part of the dream, right? So I was basically saying all this to say, like, somebody might not have wanted you to say something, but it was right for you to say, because as soon as you said something specific, this is when God wants to bring you justice, wants to bring you your blessing, wants to bring you your miracle. Because all you got to do is ask God. God is always listening. God's always speaking. God's always waiting for you to hear your wants and needs and seeing what you're about to do about the situation, because you have to take action. That is that passenger seat in the car, because the passenger in the car was an Aries, a mother figure of some sort. The passenger was not driving the car. The passenger was just a witness. This is where, in certain scenarios, you could know somebody, you could not know somebody, and you can never know how they're doing for you in regards to a blessing on your behalf. It's almost like, like how some people, they need recommendations, and they get that recommendation, and that's how they get hired. That's how they get into the door, that door of opportunities and blessings and miracles. Just like while I was talking about Drake when he got into the industry, Trey Songz said that's how he got it. You understand, Hmm. So, they could have been an observer. There could have been somebody who necessarily didn't say nothing to you, but they were helping you on your own behalf. That's good. And it could be into something that was hidden, but it's all about what you say. It's all about what you want and need and what you ask God for. So in the second part of the dream, this is where there's a warehouse displayed. And at a distance, there was a woman hiding behind a rock. Mind you, the symbolic meaning of like the lights going out and everybody was apprehended from the vehicle except for that one person. This person had a choice to make in regards to their own destiny. You know, something you want to do. And now you see the woman again, the second scenario, hiding behind a rock. Me, the way I perceived it, it was, the rock of all ages talking about God. And I think of the song itself. But a rock is not only, and this is a huge rock. A rock is like solid. This rock was so big enough it hit the woman, and it's not necessarily about keeping somebody hidden. Somebody could have wanted to keep something hidden in regards to something you had to say. But what's so ironic is this same rock is also looking like a protective barrier and shield. But like it's not like you couldn't go around the rock. So it's like it was for your protection. Something was for your protection. Because at a distance, this woman was looking into the warehouse, and at the warehouse, all those people who were apprehended, the father figure, the mother figure, the sibling, were all tied together, blindfolded, and sent on a bike. Now, what was interesting was that there was two people. So, like, the lights was on, Well, here we go. So this is like cause and effect, before and after. Previously, this is what the dream was saying. Previously, someone was trying to be manipulated, have these control tactics in regards to your life, your destiny, your career path, whatever. Take the message how it resonates, and they wanted you to go in a certain direction in regards to whatever their intent was for you. But in the midst of doing that, God intervened, and now God is shining a light on your enemies and their wrongdoings against you. And amen, I receive it. And this might not necessarily be what you wanted to happen, but God is like, it had to happen this way. I'm here, like, and then I'm here, like, yummy. So as this person was watching at a distance, what is seen is there were two people leaving the vicinity. It looked like two men. It looked like two men. Like, I don't know why this rat tried to run up on me, but just know, because I banish and I rebuke any unclean spirit trying to come against me in my life. I'm not doing it. Somebody could have wanted to make you sick, and now they sick. How ironic. Anyways, we're going to talk more about this message. So, at a distance, two different things going on, but correlate. So now God shine the light on your enemies with their wrongdoings against you. And mind you, you had that person in the passenger seat. I don't know. Maybe there was somebody sent to your life that was supposed to be a destiny helper, and they could have refused to help. So God had to make an example out of them too. Oh my goodness. All right. So somebody want to come and disrupt it. We ain't gonna. Now, what else was we about to say? God help me to remember what I'm supposed to tell these people. Anyways, so what was ironic was that this sibling and his mother figure were tied together back to back. So something about the song from Drake, back to back. All right, I wasn't gonna say anything, but I was listening. The dream, I understand it for me because obviously I had a dream. But, you know, it's gonna resonate with somebody somewhere else. But Drake's significance to the song and the 16 and Trisha Intuition Miracles. The 16 carriages, what I understand for the song, how it resonates to me, it might resonate different for somebody else, but just follow along. You know what I'm saying? When I was listening to Summer 16, I had to listen to it twice. And I'm like, you know, one relationship Drake has that never really made sense to me was his relationship with his father. Because from the music, we know like his father really wasn't around. But some way, somehow, his father came back into his life, and then the way his father is just like perceived, I would say, very flashy, wanting to do the same thing as his son. But you also don't see Drake hang out with him like that. I kind of, to be honest, when his father released that album, I kind of looked at it like, not only did he want to piggyback off of what his son was doing, the one that he supposedly was in his life like that, but like he wanted to be him or something. And Drake just kind of like gave him that little publicity and went about his business. So I'm listening to the song Summer 16 by Drake, and I'm just like, yo, is Drake talking about his father right now? Because it was just one particular line in the song. I can't even like get it. Just go listen to the song if you want to. I think Drake was talking about his father in that song. No funny, but I could be wrong. This is just my perspective. Because if you listen to the word in the song, I'm like, it was the part. It was just one part where he was saying like when he released the song itself, he said, I don't know where they was at. He said they was upstairs and they was stomping on like or something like that. They was like they were playing music. It was just loud. And they stomped and they having a good time. And whomever they off their enemy, whoever Drake's off enemy was below him. So I'm just like, wasn't this around the same time that his father emerged from the? I'm just like, yo, is he talking? I'm like, yo, and I got a good laugh for it because the dream and the other song. I was just like, all right. Then there's 16 characters in the song. She was like 16. She was talking about going on a journey, and she said something about a long, dark road and stuff like that. So, mind you, I'm thinking about the dream. This is why I had to narrate this the way I'm narrating because, like I said, I was so overwhelmed when I heard the song and the lyrics. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm like resonating. I'm like, all right. So this made me, for whatever reason, because I know who the zodiac embodiments in my dream and who they represent. If you know, you know. I started thinking about Beyonce's father. Beyonce's father has always been a peculiar, interesting figure in her life. When I'm like, just for me, like thinking about her scenario, not that I ever cared to like really be like, oh yeah, what's her family dynamic like? Two parent household. Started her creative endeavors at a very young age. Somewhat of a support system. They didn't, and you know what's so interesting? Not saying because Beyonce was doing them talent shows, all right, from a young age, by herself. And now I wasn't thinking about it until now. But why did her parents not believe in her? Let's talk about it because this, but or maybe they did, but I don't know. Because if you really think about it, if they believed in her, they would have kept pushing her to, continue on her solo path. Because it's her creative endeavors, it's her talent, it's her gift, it's her blessing, right? In regards to her artistry, and I know a lot of us can. Well, I know I can relate to that. And then some way, somehow, it turned into her just being a solo act, doing what, using the gift, the talents that God blessed her with, and then trying to add on hold on, 2 to 3 additional members, including one of her relatives. And you see this narrative, and it's so ironic. I do not want to bring in this perspective. I'm just saying it because it's. I'm just gonna say this because it just needs to be said. I'm not saying I embody this type of behavior or experience, but it's common knowledge that this is relevant to some people. It brings in that factor of colorism, because you know Kelly Rowland's color complexion, Beyonce's color complexion, even though they're within the same, I guess, hue family. I don't know what you want to call it, but and because it's significant to the industry then and now, you know. So not only did the parents not believe in their child being able to prosper by themselves, they then enlisted other people. And now, if you know about groups, you can't, as a soloist, in regards to music, if you're a solo talent, it's nothing but your vocals, your talent. But if you have a group, you have to dissect and you have to figure out who's lead and who's background, and they want to chop and dissect basically her talent, her gifts. Basically, they didn't want her to know her value and her worth. This is you like spiritually, from a spiritual eye perspective. This is what I'm saying. And then not only did they enlist random people, strangers, they also incorporated that family aspect. Not even your sibling. Not even your sibling. Now I ain't gonna hold you. Her sister could have been a part of the group at some point in time, but as what happened to that? Because instead of the sibling, they just put a cousin. Someone who's not even your intermediate family, they just want to put a cousin into the mix. And then you got the color complexion thing going on, and you know what was going on in the industry at that time in regards to that. And that's still a stigma for a lot of different people, but that's something that's, kind of been abolished now. Won't put strangers against her. You wanted to put family against her. You took out the family element with her sister not being in the group. And then she had to share her accomplishments basically with these other people. And then have your parents playing father mother figure to some strangers and your cousin. Like what? What? Like what? Like this is interesting. And let's not forget, I'm not even trying to be funny nor Leah. They would let her date these grown men that was like very much older than her. For what? Publicity? For the group? But it actually worked out for her. I'm here for her. I like that, Oh my goodness. But yeah, so how ironic this group was dismembered and she's a solo artist and with the lead singer, like she ended up being the lead singer and from the group and became a solo artist and is globally known as one of the most prominent musicians in the music industry. How ironic. How ironic that no funny. This is why I be like. This is something I've thought to myself, but I'm gonna say it out loud. How ironic that even it don't matter the duration and how long, but like how ironic as a solo artist, Beyonce doing her thing. Her parents divorced. So all they had in common was this one child. Now, I'm not saying that have anything to do with anything, but I'm just saying, like, we just kind of look at certain things from a certain perspective. It gets quite interesting. So I'm listening to 60 Carriages. Now go back into the Dream Catcher Message, 2D Catcher Message. At this warehouse, you see the Aries Aquarius hand tied back to back, something about Drake's back to back message. And then you see the Gemini, the father figure, sitting because they were all on the ground. Sitting on the ground. And there was like this kind of baseball machine. And as these two people were leaving, the baseball machine hit the father figure in the face with a brick. Bricks are in regards to masonry, right? Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. The zodiac embodiments and such, the gifts, these zodiacs encompass. And the reason I'm bringing up, I brought up Beyonce's family dynamic and everything like that. after hearing 16 carriages, for immediately I started thinking about her father. Her relationship with her father would have been interesting. If you've seen, her father managed her for a very long time, and at some point, that got dissolved. And I've seen an interview where Beyonce talks about her mother is Creole. Now, don't let me get into my own personal bias, because when people say somebody's Creole, that doesn't mean like they're, because Creole is something a nationality, ethnicity speaks. That means you're from a certain region where there's natives of those people there. And in the dream, because I know what the embodiments of the people who was trying to have that control factor, that manipulation factor in the dream for me was, I'm like, all right, it could be something in regards to a couple. Mm. So when I heard that interview where Beyonce was talking about, you know, her mother's ethnic roots or whatever, I'm like, all right, but she said her mother don't speak the language, and then she don't speak the language. So there's some sort of detachment there from her own cultural roots. Then, so when I was thinking about her father, I was like, I wonder, like, spiritually, like, what is his beliefs? Because that would explain a lot about her upbringing. So, ethnic wise, spiritual wise, like that Creole roots from her mother's side of the family is always going to be instilled into her, whether she knows how to speak the language or not. So I went to go look into what Matthew Knowles' spiritual beliefs were, and he's kind of first of all, he no shade, but this be on my own personal preference and bias. Like, he refers to God as the creator. I've had my own experience where I've seen people call God the creator, and to each his own. You know what I'm saying? But me personally, I'd be side eyeing him a little bit, but But basically, he's saying but this is American Heritage Society, where you can appreciate other people's spiritual beliefs. So this is where this comes to. So basically, Matthew Knowles has an open spiritual belief system. He believes in many different spiritual paths and stuff like that. So this is where I was like, So it's almost as to, like, because when a man finds a good woman, he finds a wife, right? So when he met his wife, I'm under the impression that because of her ethnic background is this a same exact reason why she was chose to be his wife. The same reason why Beyonce has the gifts that she has and the spiritual enlightenment to a certain extent. She has, the gifts that her mother obviously passed down from her. Passed down, from her. If you know, you know. And her father has his own spirituals. And not only is it significant, her father was her manager. Her father, her manager, and has an open spiritual background. And we know to this day, Beyonce is very much into African spirituality. So that would mean probably more likely her father is into African spirituality. Are you following along? We also have seen that Matthew Knowles had, after being dissolved from being Beyonce's manager, while during that divorce with his ex-wife, has publicly gone to tell his his previous managerial secrets in regards to how he was helping Beyonce get to where she is today. And it was when I seen some of these interviews he did, it's kind of like a humiliation ritual he was trying to put on her because he was no longer her manager. But that's my own observation. She said $16 overpaid, overwhelmed, or something like to that extent. But she definitely said $16. I don't know if Beyonce ever to have worked a 9 to 5, no fun. So, what in regards to her artistry she was doing while she was doing them talent searches and them shows, everything she was getting paid $16? Was that her allowance? See, you see what I'm saying? I don't believe her parents really believe that. You know what? It's not necessarily that I don't think they believed in her career as a solo artist. I believe they just didn't want her to have it all to herself. Clock it. It Sabotage, and you know why it's significant? That I had that dream when I was at the age of 6 years old. It does make me think of the it's so it has nothing to do with the music industry, but what's that guy, that McCulkin guy, that guy who did the Home Alone, was a child actor, got millions. I don't know billions, but like millions of dollars as a child, and was not receiving not 1 cent of it, to the point where he had to get emancipated from his parents because they were taking millions of dollars away from him. That was in his name, but because you know that was their child, they felt they could do that. You know, and there goes that managerial aspect of things, and all about intent. The guy from the previous Power Book series that played the Tariq character, right? In real life, his mother is in charge of his finances. He didn't even know how much. He said he didn't know how much he was making, but his mother told him and was putting it into savings and everything for him. He said he was so worried about spending his own money because he didn't know how much he was making. The whole time he was making a whole bunch of money, but the managerial of his mother was ensuring that he not only saves but is also able to have. And that's a blessing to have in those type of scenarios. But not everybody is that fortunate to have, that managerial or parent or father figure or mother figure that has that good intent. Hmm. So, those two songs, they were very interesting. But to see the development of both artists is a testimony. It definitely is a testimony. Man, and I shall receive my testimony. If you want to receive your testimony, you got to receive it for yourself. All right, that's the message.